Alright, so hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick and this is Full District, and today's video is actually gonna be about something a bit different. I'm planning on actually making a voiceover. I'm doing a voiceover for one of the car meets that I've been hosting about a month ago. I've been trying to do this for quite a while at this point. I had a few voiceover, but I wasn't really happy with them, so I'm re-recording this for the maybe third, if not the fifth time or something like that. It don't really matter that much. The thing is, I didn't like them and I decided to make a new one. So what I want to talk to you guys about, long story short, is how I actually started to get into these meets. Because honestly, I never showed anything other than just maybe some car tuning, some DLCs just came out and the cars from those. Well, I actually started doing this car meets in January 2024, and right from then to today, I actually been hosting almost every day. Like I don't think there's more than like maybe a week in total that I've been anywhere else than here hosting. There's of course like vacations we took. I've been on vacations and that's the time off I actually took on purpose, and because I wanted to. That'd be like maybe 2 months in like 1 year and 8 months. So pretty alright I would say, I've been starting my very own community about a year ago. At this point we are maybe 9 or something like that days away from actually being a 1 year old community. And it all started back in 2024, in January 2024, when I joined one of my friends, because me and him, we tried to host a Carm in a public session just for fun, not to actually go anywhere with all this, to be honest. And we actually ended up in a session where we saw a lot of people that were like, get up together. But we didn't know that yet. Like, first of all, I think I typed in the chat if there's someone who wants a car meet or anything, or maybe look map, and I wanted to see, in fact, if there was enough people who would like to join car meet and show. And I see like a bunch of people who are like piled up together, almost like in a parking lot somewhere. And I'm like, yo, this gotta be cool, right? Like, there's gotta be something interesting out there, and they're definitely doing a car meet. Exactly, they're my first thought. If I go my first thought, they definitely gotta be doing a car meet. That's why they're all there, up there, and yeah. So I decided, if that's the case, let me get one of my best cars that I had at that time. I don't have that car no more, but I'm gonna try to replicate it from what I remember it used to look like, and put you guys a picture out here right on display so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And that's how it all started. And like a month after that, because I pretty got accepted, I actually asked them for the Discord and everything, because even though I didn't like Discord at the time, I actually started liking Discord about 8 months after, to be honest. That's when I actually got into Discord the most, when I actually started my own community. Up until that point, I didn't even know how to use Discord properly, to be honest. Other than just maybe DMing people, sending messages, or maybe tagging them in the chat, because they were like the minimum mandatory to say so. I didn't know much about all that, so yeah. Returning to what I said, and returning to what I said. So, actually starting hosting, I've been with them for the very 8 months that I've been part of their community, and I've been hosting about 90% of the car meets. I would say I don't really have like a chart with like the data and everything, but I would say 90% of the car meets, given the fact that anything other than just drift meets, because that's one of the other things they've been doing, was actually hosted by me and through me, and were my ideas, my implementation, and my way of doing. I actually learned a lot, because I was like a blank blueprint at that time when it came to car meets. I didn't know much. Alright, all I know is that cars are supposed to drive together, people are supposed to have fun, and that it's interesting. That's all I knew, alright? That it's interesting. So, knowing the bare minimum, to say so, maybe less than just that, I actually got into all this thanks to people who are actually willing to show me what's up with all this, my will of actually trying to learn as much as possible, and the fact that I didn't really have anything better to do at that time, so it was match made in heaven, to say so. Right after that, what happened was that since I was dedicated and committed to all this, I started doing more and more car meets, more and more events later on, but sticking to car meets for now. I've been doing lots of car meets with different teams. I actually got people to join me because the car meets were taking place in GTA 5 online all the time. There was no other game involved, so the community was really focused on one thing, and that was car meets in GTA 5 online. We also had like public session car meets. That meant that using mod menus, we'd go in public sessions and we'd allow everyone to join us along the road, for as long as they got decent looking cars, and for as long as they were actually pretty good when it comes to driving and everything else, and had, let's just say, acceptable personalities, not to be mean to them or point someone out. After like maybe a month and a half, maybe two, something like that. I don't really remember how long it took, to be honest. I don't recall. After I've been hosting Carmage, we actually got to events. I got to host events that I've been hosting on my own. I came up with ideas like making teasers, you know, like you have thumbnails like on YouTube, but they're teasers because they're supposed to be sort of like an ad, like sort of like publicity stunt, something like that, where you put something out there before the actual thing takes place, so that way people can get hyped up, people can actually know what's up with all that. You give more and more details about all this as you're getting closer to the release date of what you're trying to showcase, which in this case the events were supposed to be sessions. They were invite only, unlike public, where people who were already and only part of this community were actually allowed to join. And those people had to get cars of their own. They were based on certain themes, cars of their own. They were supposed to kind of follow some criteria, cars of their own that had specific kind of customizations, from liveries to set of headlights, wheels, paint jobs, and everything else that you can imagine to put on. They were carefully selected by me and made a list of all of them. Most people, when it comes to all this, even if they would have done it, they would have looked up online for the cars and for the customizations. What I did was to actually own, fortunately, because I had enough money. I didn't even mod it at the time, by the way. The cars, I had the cars, and I actually got the cars. I had them all bought and purchased. I didn't have to like buy any of them. Maybe there were like 3 or 4 cars that I left out on purpose or by mistake that I didn't have, but they didn't really count it at that time. So those cars were in fact pretty good. Those cars were in fact pretty alright. I actually looked into every and each of them customizations to get them right. Why am I crashed so much? Alright. So I got the cars, I tried to get them to be ready for the event and so on. And I've been hosting about 3 different events. The first one I remember it was 4.5 hours of an event. The event was supposed to be called, and it was in fact called, the Gumball 3000 custom event. Gumball 3000 itself, for who doesn't know, is pretty much a car show that takes place around the globe. It doesn't really have a certain starting point and destination that repeats every year. Every year it's different, like you get in different parts of the world, and you just get your car there shipped either by plane or by actual I forgot what those boats are called. They're supposed to like get cars from one place to another, but you got a point. But ships, those ships. Yeah, those ships. And you are pretty much having liveries with crazy colors and sponsors on them. You got exotics for the most part, or at least rare cars that you bring in all over the world, and that's how it works. That's what that's all about. So based on that, we decided to make our own version of it and call it the Gumball 3000 and custom event, because it was special edition, quoting special edition, because it's not actually sponsored by Gumball 3000 anyway. It was just me and my idea and the way of implementation, to say so. Matter of fact, the idea of Gumball 3000 itself as an event that we can actually base our event on wasn't really mine. It was of a friend of mine, and I actually took in and was in charge of the execution of everything. I actually remember that I pulled an all-nighter once for that event, just to create the map, because these events are not just as they look, like you get the cars and you go from point A to point B. These events, in my opinion, in my head, were different. Like, you should know exactly what you're doing, where you come from, where you're going, what's up with all that's going on, and so on. So I'm actually gonna put right here on the screen what I still have from those events. I don't really have all of them no more. I did have just a few of them, just some leftovers that somehow survived through the many and unbelievably yeah. So we were supposed to have those events. We had all of them. There were like 3, as I said. So every single one of them had a map, had thumbnails, had music for almost all of the thumbnails, had teasers, had like a cool introduction, a story behind them, and so on. What else did we do? Oh yeah, we did another one. It was Concept Cars California Run. And that event, as the name says, was supposed to be once again another event that takes place around California, which is pretty much where the Los Santos and the countryside of it pretty much is. The fictional version of it, of course, which is based on Los Angeles and the surrounding areas of Los Angeles, the state of California. So we took I in fact decided to host that event and to be sort of a continuation to what Gumball 2000 did. And the event itself was supposed to combine a few very important things. One of the most important things it actually did was get a different type of cars to bring to this event. Unlike before, instead of having liveries with crazy paint jobs and so on, as most cars do have when it comes to events like the Gumball 3000, here we had a different approach. It was to get the cars to look as close as possible to the real version of them, and to also make sure that every single car was a car that they can bring, a car that's fun, a car that's interesting, and a car that it's pretty much what you wanted, to say so. I don't really know how to say it. It's sort of a thing where you know the car it's meant for you to be getting because you like it quite a lot. So yeah. Based on that and the fact that it was something cool, something new, and I realized that there's lots in fact of cars that are supposed to be concept in GTA 5 Online, we decided to have that event going on and to host it the right way. Right after that, this event, we had my very last event, which was Childhood Dreams Westside USA. And for this event, unlike for the Gumball 2000 custom event and for the Concept Cars California run, we decided to do something completely different. When I say we, I mean me, by the way, because like I didn't have the team or anything to help me with all this, but for some reason I'm just saying we. So we decided, whatever. I decided to create this in a different way and have more than just cars. They're like driving from one place to another, which is what you pretty much do in an event at the end of the day. No matter what you're trying to like create there, at the end of the day you're still getting from point A to point B. So thing I didn't say up to this point is that every single one of these events had at least like 10 locations and about maybe 2 to 3 secondary locations. So you got main locations and secondary locations, a total of maybe 12 to 13. So the secondary locations were supposed to be spots like gas station where we wouldn't spend more than maybe 6 minutes, and the other ones were supposed to be like places where we had some fun, like maybe some drag races, places where we had some other kind of fun, like maybe we're going to a different spot to just hang out for a while, you know, and the list can go on and on. So for this event, we did that, we had that, and we had a drag race. We had a pretty cool. Okay, I don't know what the AI is doing, and I don't know what my autopilot is doing, because I'm modded, but that's another thing. So, returning to what I said, we're there, and we had this thing, where I was trying my best to get this event going. We had locations, different locations, and this event was a two-part event. So the first one was the one, as I told you guys, that had pretty fun drag race. It had a few other things in it, and at the end I decided, why don't we end this with a bang, since this is my last event, and I knew that this is gonna be my last event because I wanted to move on. I wanted to start my very own thing. I decided to end it with a bang, and we started something called the F1 Grand Prix of the Childhood Dreams Westside USA. The F1 Grand Prix of it was supposed to take place on the airport from the city. I can show you where. It's this one right here. So it's this airport right here. This one also had the map. I actually got so obsessed to say so with this event that I even decided having sort of a thing. I decided having the map, I decided having props to actually close roads and to have like those things where you have the lanes split it into. And I also had sort of like F1 safety car, if I remember. Yeah, I had two, matter of fact. I had an Aston Martin, for who knows, the GT version of it. Way before they released this, GT version actually comes with an open wheel racing livery, which is super close to the F1 one. And we also had the AMG, for who remembers, like before the Aston Martin there used to be an AMG GT. They used to be in charge of all this. We had like a fire truck, if I remember and if I recall, and alright, so returning to what I said, I realized that my recording just stopped. out of nowhere. So returning to what I said, we're talking about the fire trucks, right? They were supposed to be there present. So we had the fire trucks, of course, as props, just like anything else. We had that thing where, you know how the F1 cars, when they get to a new track, the first thing they do is like go like one lap for like the warm up and so on, and right after that the race is actually starting. So we had that thing where the safety car was in front of everyone and was like showcasing them the track. And then we had that thing where instead of them stopping back to the pits, and so the thing kept on going, and at that the chat stopped like the F1 car is pulling out, so that way people knew to like get on the gas and overtake me and everything. And so the race was supposed to start. Well, of course, people were unable to follow all of it because yeah, there was no proper training beforehand for all this. It was supposed to be a surprise, so it all went in an actual loop instead of just going and following the route. But it was pretty alright. It wasn't too crazy or anything. So that was my last event. Once the event was over, I was actually telling people that this was my very last event, and no, I don't think I told them that. I think I was like, I'm happy that I managed to get you guys to 1,000 members, because there were like 1,000 members in that community when I first started. I think there were like anywhere between 400 to 700. I don't remember how many. And I actually got it to get boosted all the way up to 1,000 members, which was awesome if you were to ask me. The fact that they got 1,000 members, that we got 1,000 members at that time, because we're together at that time. We're friends, matter of fact. And it was my last event. Then I decided to pretty much just go off, alright, to do my own thing. So first thing I did was come up with an outro, to say so, once and for all, for me as member of that community. And I was decided to start my own project. I didn't even tell them when I want to start. I just told them that I wanted to start my own project. Well, of course, my own projects were in fact pretty much based on what I wanted to do in the future, which was the car meet. The car meet I wanted to host on my own with my very own rules and have my very own way of doing everything, and to have my very own team, and to have everything, to say so, under control, I think it would be. But yeah, so I decided to be a good thing to do this, because since I've been doing most of the things on my own, I decided, and I realized, way more important than just deciding is realizing that I can actually do all of this, that I can do it on my own, that I got what it takes, and that it's not as hard as it looks. And that all you have to do is dedication, commitment, and know what the hell is going on when you actually do it. So with my very own set of rules, with friends of mine who wanted to come over because they knew what I'm capable of, friends of mine who were interested in all this, we decided to start this project. I started it with a bang, to say so. When I got the outro out there were like lots of people who were like not that happy that I left. The idea was for me to leave and then return to them like a month later, when the leader of theirs was supposed to come back because he was having some financial, if I'm not wrong. I don't recall that well, but I'm pretty sure it was something about financials, and that's the reason why I had to move country. I decided to do so, because even though at that point I didn't really want to have much more to do with them in the future, I decided to move over. The thing about all this is that I found out about something about them. They don't want to really talk about it out here, and I decided, well, you know what, because of all this and the fact that I, however, wanted to start my community either way, to be a good thing to just move on, to end things in a nice way, and just let it be. Things didn't go according to my plan, unfortunately, but that was it. I didn't really have what to do at that point. I just had to keep on going, and I did so. I kept on going, and they kind of tried to make me dirty, because I knew their stuff, their dirty stuff, and I was actually telling other people about it. I was telling other people about it to kind of keep them away from all that, because there were a lot of people who are good people who actually were like pretty innocent, alright? People who didn't know about all this, people who shouldn't have known about this in the first place, from any other perspective or point of view other than just me trying to protect them from all this. So I decided to do what I just said, and pretty much just tell them all. That one kind of backfired, not as bad, but yeah. So the split was made They didn't like it that I left and tried to frame me in. They didn't like it that I knew their secrets and tried to pretty much make me dirty for all this and put it on me. Those didn't work out for them, as I already had a player base that was willing to join me for both reasons: that I'm actually good at what I'm doing and capable of this, and also because they were either fed up with them, either didn't want to deal with all this. So once the split was made, matter of fact, they even put people to choose if they want to be part of my community or their community, but they cannot be part of both. And this thing is still a thing today, where people are actually choosing between me and him. I never have this thing, to be honest. Like, if you want to be part of us, sure, join us. If you want to join them, it's up to you. I'm also not gonna give any names out here other than maybe my name, the stuff I did, and that's because I don't want to put this on anyone. I'm just gonna tell a story, alright? That's all I'm doing right here, telling a story. So that's how it all started, alright? That's how it all went. After we got sorted out for the most part, everything was pretty chill, I would say so. I was minding my own business. I didn't pay attention to all this bullshit in the first place. I was like, you know what, let them do the talking, let them say whatever they want to say. We know what we've been doing, we know how we do, and we don't really need all this, alright? So if they want to keep it on going, sure. If people really want to know what happened, let me tell you guys this story, alright? And actually, I told this story many times. At this point, I think I told the story at least 20 times, if I recall. Maybe less, maybe more. But people were actually coming over to me and asking me, what up with all this? What up with all this thing? And I was telling them. And I didn't believe the stuff I actually learned about them in the first place, but later on, there were people left, right, who were reaching out to me, people who were warning me, people who actually told me stories of that, and they were actually lining up way too good to be coincidences. And not to mention the fact that people who were affected by what he did were reaching out to me, both knowingly what he did or in anonymous ways, not really knowing what's gonna happen to them if they're gonna get the word out about all this, trying to warn me, trying to tell me they need help with all this because it's too much. And yeah, and said it was time to go. So I left. Well, I didn't even get to leave. I got kicked, to be exact. I got kicked out of there, and when I got kicked, they tried to frame me in for me apparently deleting some of the stuff that was happening out there. And what I actually tried to frame me in for was me deleting some of the messages sent in threads on Discord. To put it in perspective, at that time, I didn't even know what's a thread, to be honest. Not even today, I'm not sure what's a thread. I think threads on Discord are those things where you pretty much like get a message and you start a thread out of it, or like you can create a thread like from a thread from scrap, I think. Yeah, those, I think. So, me not even knowing how they work, I actually deleted one of them, alright? Not even knowing how to get to the delete button, or whatever you like to call it, feature or option, I deleted them. It was of course bullshit, and apparently to them, me deleting some threads which were containing very important stuff, alright, were a kickable offense. So they kicked me out from their community, and I wasn't too mad about it. I was in fact laughing, alright? When I got kicked by the very owner, to say so. So when I actually got kicked, I was in fact laughing. I was having a good time at that time. Not because I got kicked, but because I knew that whatever's gonna happen from here on, I'm pretty much sealed, to say so. I'm pretty much okay. I'm pretty much doing my own thing. I don't really need all this no more. So, yeah. Once I started my very own car meets, I had lots of people coming and going, just like everyone does, matter of fact, and I actually kept one thing going that I have the feeling everyone slept on. Hosting public session car meets. Hosting public session car meets is giving the opportunity to get people from around the world willing to play GTA, they're also into cars, to join you, because it's the crowd effect, matter of fact. You see a lot of people who are joining you and they're driving together like, what the hell's going on, man? I want to be part of this, you know? You don't really have to like cars for the most part. So yeah, we got all sorts of people. The thing is, only the people who are actually able to follow the rules that we have around here at Asphalt District are actually the ones staying. The other ones, not so much. Next thing you know, it's been a year almost since then, and the rest is history, to say so, if you would like to say so. It's pretty much just a lot of work, just a lot of dedication, days and nights in which I've been thinking, what am I doing? Am I actually gonna make it? Am I actually gonna be here in maybe a few other months and maybe a year? And it seems like I am. All I have to do now is do what I did and pretty much adapt to whatever is to come. I like modding, and if it wasn't for car meets, I wouldn't have gotten into mods. Matter of fact, I don't got into mods because of money and everything. I got into mods because of car meets, and this happened somewhere around May 2024. Somewhere around May 2024. I don't remember the date. But I know for sure it's May 2024. That's the month and that's the year, but the day in particular I don't remember it. So since then and up until now I got banned only once because of modding, and it was permanently. My account got banned permanently. In the past I've been banned on the same account because of Cheat Engine, and this happened because I wanted to get myself way too much money with it. Cheat Engine, I don't think Cheat Engine ever was anything but just a quick way to get banned. I never knew about Cheat Engine being good, but at that time it was the first and my very only solution to actually getting myself some cash. So I was like, why not? Didn't know that I'm actually gonna get banned. I even modded level and everything, but it didn't work out. I actually got banned. I was actually so greedy that I modded myself like 300 to 400 million. I spent them all on cars and I realized, dude, this game is hella expensive at that time. And even today, like if you have 400 million and you can spend it all on cars and you still don't got enough money to buy anything else, like crazy. Well, of course I bought garages and stuff, but still. So yeah. I bought a lot of property, a lot of stuff, and I was left with no money, so I decided to give myself the same amount of money once again with Cheat Engine. And the very next day, or maybe the same day, I don't really remember, I got a message they got banned and suspended from playing online for like 30 days. After that, I think I took a break for like a year from GTA Online. That was 2021, by the way. And in 2022 I returned to the game, and all I did was just the same everyone does when they really want to finish the game, the online. Well, the finish of the online, to say so, the very end is to pretty much own whatever you want, alright? That's like, in my opinion, the end of GTA Online when it comes to this. Like, you do everything you can to own whatever you like the most. That's like the very end of the game, in my opinion. So I've been doing so, and I've been trying to get my hands on everything that I really enjoyed and liked. And it worked quite well. Until 2023, the very end of 2023, I had everything I wanted. I was level 540 plus to level 550, something like that, legit, without mods. Well, of course, there was still that problem where you would get occasional like 50 level boost, but those wouldn't really count much, because like if those things still exist, because I haven't seen them in a while. The best way to counter them would be to pretty much, or at least was at the time, to just get out of the game, like alt tab it, get your Wi-Fi off, and then exit the game from the Rockstar launcher without getting back in the game. If you do so, the progress is not gonna save, at least for the most part, and that was my way of actually countering those, but that's another story. So this is when I actually started to get into all this garbage and stuff in January 2024, because I was super bored of doing more heights and everything. I was at that point where like you've done everything in this game, you'd be going high octane all the time, so you wanted something to chill, you wanted something different, you wanted a new perspective, you wanted something to keep it fresh, you know, you wanted to look at the game in a different way. So that's how it all began for me in January 2024. I don't think there's anything else or much left to say. Oh, by the way, I actually spent my money on a second mod menu, which is the one I'm using right now. And the first key I bought was actually rigged. I bought it from a source that was no good. And I got scammed of around 30 euros. And I had to buy once again the thing. And I also had to buy a third-party program that's messing with my BIOS for this mod menu that I'm using. So yeah, there was another thing. Total, I think I've spent around $120, euros, not dollars, my bad. I know I got from euros to dollars, so I think I spent around $120 on mod menus, let alone. Think I'm done to say so. I don't know how to end this, to be honest, but this is going to be it, I believe, for today's video. This, of course, a voiceover. This is my car right here that I'm driving. You can see the GTR. This is supposed to be a car that might be releasing as crew. It's supposed to be Midnight Purple. The Midnight Purple, the GTR 32, I believe, and R33 and R34. I don't know if the 33 and 32 actually had a Midnight Purple, but I know for sure the R34 had one from factory, I believe. So yeah, this is the car right here. Alright, this is gonna be with today's video. Very much to add to all this. Hope you guys like the story, and I got more to come. Not stories, because I'm not really much of a storyteller, but I got more stuff to tell you guys about the car meets that I've been hosting so far and the car meets from the future. So without any further ado, or introduction, or well, should I call it introduction if it's the end of it, but whatever. So without any further ado, I'll leave you guys with this. Have a good one and enjoy your day. Bye bye. I'm tuning out.